Dear students, welcome to the MOOC on India's foreign policy in a globalizing world. In this lesson, we are going to discuss about China's presence in South Asia and its impact on India. Main objectives of this lesson are to know whether China is a part of South Asia, to examine Chinese investment in South Asia, to understand India's concern over China's involvement in South Asia. We begin with the first part of the lesson, in which we will discuss about China in South Asia. Geography and historical relations compels an uneasy coexistence for China and India, while globalization brings them closer through economic cooperation. South Asia represents 1/4 of the world's population with a low gross domestic product, low per capita income and low literacy rate, coupled with the high birth and high death rates. The region is afflicted by a number of social, political and economic problems. Disputes, mutual distrust, misunderstanding and suspicion remain in the region. The absence of collective identity and a lack of a sense of belonging prevails in the region. Conflicts and disputes have pushed the region into backwardness. Though cultural linkages between the countries are common and strong, they cannot influence them to come closer. China shares a border with 5 countries in South Asia, whereas India shares a border with all the South Asian countries. No other South Asian country shares its border with more than 2 countries in the region. China is thus connected with almost every South Asian country. Let us discuss about China in South Asia. China is one of the most populous countries in the world. Having risen as an economic power in the world, its economy may surpass that of the US by 2040. It is also seen as an engine of global economic growth in the 21st century. Anticipating the shift across the world from geopolitics to geoeconomics, China is strengthening its economic ties with other countries through multilateral cooperation across the world. Globalization has benefited China enormously. It is therefore essential for China to cooperate with the international system. To facilitate its peaceful rise with the rapid economic growth and deeper international integration, China has adopted the use of soft power. China's focus over the years has been to further integrate itself into the globalized economy to pursue its interests. For instance, the Belt Road Initiative is to connect Eurasia with China. The project would cost $1 trillion and cover 60 countries. Furthermore, China appears to have strategic and geopolitical calculations towards the neighboring countries, regions and the world at large. Yet these strategic calculations have not taken concrete form. China's presence in South China Sea, its role in different parts of the world, China-Pakistan economic cooperation, BRI and others provide a scope for concern over its ambition and strategic calculations. Although experiencing a rise in economic growth, China suffers from shortage of resources, environmental degradation and internal crisis in the form of increasing social and ethnic tensions. There has been an intense discourse on the rise of China over the years. Some scholars argue that China is well integrated with the international economic system and has not exhibited aggressiveness towards others. Therefore, China's rise is peaceful. The advocates of this view are mostly the liberal scholars of international relations. On the other hand, some argue that a rising China is likely to challenge the existing global order by means of its huge economic strength and military expansion, and therefore is a threat to international security. They advocate that necessary measures need to be taken to counter future China. Meanwhile, South Asia is attracting global attention for its economic and political dynamics. It is one of the fastest growing economic regions in the world. It is trying to integrate with other regions of Asia, which are expected to play a vital role in the global arena. The South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation has expanded its membership from 7 to 8 members. 9 external and major states joined as observers, and China is one of them. A resurgent South Asia could either align its domestic policies with international concerns over China and therefore add to the xenophobia, or pull its act together to give a considerable direction to its policies to create environments conducive for mutual benefit. India and China are the two largest countries in the world. They are simultaneously rising as economic powers in Asia and the world. They are seen as engines of global economic growth in the 21st century. When the world is shifting from geopolitics to geoeconomics, it is important for China and India to concentrate on economic relations. India and China can join together in strengthening their economic ties through cooperation. On the other hand, both of them have apprehensions over each other as a threat. India feels uncomfortable about Chinese expansion in the Indian Ocean region, whereas China has reservations over India's presence in the Indo-Pacific. Among the South Asian nations, Pakistan has established long-standing politico-military relations with China. Ceding the northern region of Aksha Chin and considerable territories of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir has facilitated the road connectivity between Pakistan and China. Apart from the obvious strategic implications to India coupled with Chinese investments to develop Gwadar port, this road could serve as the southern perimeter of the BRI networks. The port could serve as a sentinel on the maritime part of BRI. Sri Lankan connectivity through the Hambantota port has already given China foothold over the maritime Silk Road in the Indian Ocean region. These initiatives appear to be guided by China's intention to become the largest and most influential power in the world. In the geopolitical context of South Asia, a composite understanding of China vis-a-vis South Asia is a must. First, it has made little concession to the interest of other nations unless such a concession itself is in its interest. Second, we must explore the geopolitical interest of the countries in South Asia with a little historical perspective. This would be essential since none of the countries except perhaps Bhutan existed in their present form through the 2 or 3 millennia that China had existed. Due to the rivalry between India and Pakistan, smaller countries have been incapable of fomenting regional ties on their own or bringing the two to the negotiating table. India remains the natural regional hegemon in South Asia, but is unable to resolve issues single-handedly, such as the widespread economic crisis and the regional instability. The entry of China into the region with cheap export materials and lucrative economic investment projects, along with the promise of their speedy delivery, have been tempting the countries in the region to be closer to China. I hope you understood about China in South Asia. We will discuss about China's investment in South Asia in the next video. Thank you.